Welcome back to Life 4.0, where we share our experiences on board our 44-foot sailboat Sea Rose as we explore this amazing planet. We are in the big city of Las Palmas, on the big round island of Gran Canaria, part of the Canaries archipelago. As you've heard from our previous videos, we are getting ready for the Arc Plus, a transatlantic sailing rally that crosses the Atlantic, with a stop in the Cape Verde Islands. We just returned from a refreshing trip back home and are ready to dive in. This video will focus on how we prepared ourselves and our boat for this major ocean voyage, followed by a second video on the actual sail down to the Cape Verde Islands. The Ark was started by the sailing legend Jimmy Cornell 30 years ago. It starts in the Canaries, which is kind of appropriate, as this was the old trading route of sailing ships that were seeking the favorable winds to blow them west to the New World. The Canaries are part of Spain. It's a big urban metropolis where we were located, but the island offers a lot of old world Spanish charm and a crazy, rugged interior that definitely feels more volcanic and tropical than mainland Spain. Gran Canaria is a major shipping hub, which was also convenient for obtaining parts and expertise for boat repairs and upgrades. I'll break down our preparation for the Ark into 4 sections. The first is about crew. This is probably the most important topic of the whole effort: who to bring along. Judging from how many crew walked off their boats early in Cape Verde, this is a subject that needs more focus. You might think that a boat full of rock star sailors would be ideal, but if they can't get along, they are worse than novices. We focused first on the people we enjoyed being with, figuring that the sailing expertise can develop later. Our good friends from home, Dan and Don, were an easy pick. They had small boat experience, but several years previous, we had made sure to get them on board Sea Rose for a few overnight passages, to make sure they knew what to expect. Being boat doctors was an added bonus. And then there was Alex. As you've seen from our earlier videos, she joined us from Ireland to Madeira, and then on down to Las Palmas.
And how do you feel about our departure, Alex?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I woke up a little apprehensive this morning. I was like, oh, okay. This is the last moment the boat is going to be still. Let me enjoy it for a minute. But now that we're actually out here, I'm excited. I hope that lasts.
Yeah, cool.
She teaches sailing along the coast of Maine in the U.S. and has done several offshore deliveries. But more than anything else, she was an easy personality to get along with. And, oh yeah, she's got a knack for bringing fresh fish aboard. Alas, I'm getting ahead of myself. So that rounded out our crew of 5 people. Some boats did it double-handed. Some of the catamarans had a whole army of hands to help out. We were comfortable with 5. Any more and we would not have had enough room. It's important to not play down the seriousness of this kind of ocean sailing. So part of the crew assimilation is to have a chance for everyone to socialize and develop camaraderie with other boat crews. World Cruising does a great job at this by organizing nightly sundowners. They also organized a tremendous opening parade, grouping crews by one of the 23 of the nations represented, all set to the beat of a local drummer squad. It was a very touching moment when all the flags were raised together.
Arc Plus 2024 has begun. Flag bearers, please raise your flags.
The second category of preparation is the boat itself. You want to make sure you do as much as you can to lower the risk of equipment failure. World Cruising doesn't come out and say it, but one can assume they start the rally in the Canaries, so you have at least one ocean passage under your belt. We had our share of boat tasks to complete, but I can say that you don't want to do anything major so close to a departure. I used to run marathons, and the preparation for that begins 6 months before. During the last week, you are tapering down, and your fate is somewhat sealed based on how good you were at preparing months ago. The same is the case for ocean crossing. We followed this philosophy. Well, mostly followed this philosophy. We had a local shop remove our forestay and furler to shorten it, as we had had too much mast bend, and we had not been able to find a competent place to do it beforehand. It was just a little bit alarming, seeing your furler walk away down the dock. The other work we did was fairly minor. We replaced a solar panel, we ran a new spinnaker halyard, we applied chafe covers to all of our halyards, and we did some maintenance to our autopilot. But it does take some restraint to not do too much beforehand. We also benefited from having sailed on our boat for 7 years, with a fair number of overnight passages. This allowed us to tweak and adjust the boat, and to understand what it needed when the weather got nasty. On the flip side, there were several brand new boats in the rally, like only a few months old, and their owners were often the ones fixing major issues before and during the rally. You really want to make sure you know your boat well and have broken it in while at sea before you take on a transatlantic passage. The third area is food. The beginning of food organization. We have Zara Karen involved in primary policing of food disposition. And this is not all.
I already went through the snack drawer and organized that. So
Nice.
all of the nuts and seeds and all that kind of stuff, plus dried fruit, is all managed. Snack drawer is underneath there. Figured out the number of meals we're going to be having, and like the number of sandwiches we're going to need to be able to make if everybody has sandwiches every day.
Yeah, how many wraps?
We have 90. We have 100 wraps. I just found 12 more. So we have 100 wraps. So
we don't need to
100
bake bread then.
sandwiches.
That's what you're saying. It would be nice to bake bread, but
it would be nice to bake bread,
we got
but we
stacks
do not
of
need
wraps
to.
back there. Yeah. Nice. One of the big challenges with food is how to manage fresh fruit and vegetables. Thankfully, the local grocery stores in Las Palmas are very organized, providing an order sheet and free delivery. Like anywhere in the tropics, though, you want to make sure you thoroughly wash with bleach all fresh food to avoid the chance of cockroaches and other bugs coming on board. Finding a place to store all of this fresh produce is the next big challenge. Let's face it, dealing with all of this food, while important for crew morale, is a bit daunting.
Lots and lots and lots of produce in our hammocks. I'll go back and show them. Yeah, here we are. There's a couple pineapples. We have some zucchinis, green peppers, cucumbers, lemons, limes, papayas, pears. Over here, there's a whole bunch of bananas and different levels of ripeness. There's a melon and some oranges. Here we have more ripe fruit that we need to dig into, that we need to eat in the next little bit. And we have even more downstairs.
All right, we have Team Veggie Burger here at work. Veg away.
Veggie.
It's important to prep as many meals as possible. In addition to veggie burgers, we barbecued a large quantity of chicken and used a vacuum sealer to store meal-sized portions in the freezer. For the last area, I will simply refer to it as education. There is so much to learn, and we had been reading for years before the rally started, but it feels like there is so much more to understand. Fortunately, the Arc Plus organizers do a great job at covering all of the key areas. All participating boats need to pass a strict safety inspection, but in addition, it was helpful to see safety equipment such as flares, inflatable life jackets, and life rafts in actual use, and ready for crews to try them out. Prior to the rally, we attended a well-run 2-day Safety at Sea course, which gave us additional knowledge on how to handle emergencies on board. It is invaluable to have at least 2 members of a crew complete such a course. On the topic of weather, the tools and the techniques are constantly changing, but we found the use of Predict Wind over a satellite connection to be a critical daily solution to look for changing wind speed and direction. I would download a 5-day weather forecast each morning, and that information would drive our sail plan for the day.
So at 11 p.m. tonight, we're either going to get 21 knots from the north-northwest, or we're going to get 20 knots from the south-southwest.
So, opposite completely.
Yeah.
So, ECM,
Predict wind.
yeah.
It's been like that all day. They're pretty much exactly opposite for the area, with lots of other weather going around.
So good. So we'll do our own thing.
There's a lot to learn about the weather models and weather routing. It is important to practice with these tools during coastal sailing before going offshore. Lastly, we studied up on how to become mentally prepared for this ocean challenge. This needs to be talked about more. We made sure that our crew knew the importance of getting rest off watch. Napping during the day was strongly encouraged. Assigning daily tasks to each crew member allowed them to feel like part of a team, besides their usual watch standing. Equally, we made sure everyone got the alone time they needed. The mental fatigue of irregular sleep and physical exertion means your own body battery needs to have sufficient time to recharge. What have you found that works for mental sanity on long passages? We'd love to hear your ideas. Please shoot us a comment in the section below. That's a wrap on our preparations for crossing the Atlantic. Be sure to look for our follow-on video as we set off from Las Palmas for Leg 1 to Cape Verde, followed by Leg 2 to Grenada. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for being a part of our Life 4.0. Subscribe so you can be notified of new video releases. And please consider giving us a like, as it helps others find this kind of content. Fair winds!